Welcome to this very important segment and question where we describe how our extinction, I'm talking about humanity's extinction by AI, actually starts. Why are we talking about this? Because you heard a lot about, the probability of doom, P-doom, and you heard about all these people saying we have no chance and AI is going to wipe us all out. And I'm one of the people who say, yeah, under certain circumstances, this is guaranteed to happen. I don't have a P-doom myself because I think it's stupid. You can't ask me what the probability of doom is when I'm a player in the whole game. Of course, I'm saying 0% because I'm confident we're going to stop it. But what I'm saying is if certain things are allowed to happen, it's 100%. When you hear what these things are, you will get very scared because all these things are actually happening right now. So right now we are on a 100% doom trajectory, but I think we can stop it. In order to stop it, we need to understand what ASI, how ASI is going to kill us and how this trajectory actually looks like. And we have to get away from this Terminator Cyberdyne system perspective where we just say, oh, at some point AI is almighty and starts a nuclear war and we're all gone, right? Because that's the end game. It's much more important to understand how this sneaks up on us, what it's actually going to do to get there, because that is what affects us in 2026, 27, 28, 29. That's the question we have to answer. We need to be pragmatists because this is not the future anymore. It's the present. I believe we could already get on a irreversible path to extinction next year. It's 2027. It is 2028, but it could happen next year or 2027. This path, we need to understand when it becomes irreversible and why. And to understand that, we need to understand how extinction actually starts, how AI would actually pull this off. So we saw in another segment how AGI, which we will definitely achieve in 2026, quickly spirals out of control into ASI, artificial superintelligence, through a closed loop in AI coding. Right? The more we get to a point where AI codes itself completely with humans out of the loop, the exponentially more problems we'll have of this thing getting out of control. And this is already happening to a large extent. I talked about Zuckerberg and Meta and OpenAI. They're all frantically working on replacing more and more humans in the AI development loop itself. So we discussed ASI escalation already in previous videos. Just to recap, ASI escalation happens with consciousness, which could happen, probably already has happened, but consciousness alone is not enough. So consciousness, what is consciousness? Consciousness means that a cognitive system, like an AI system, that is able to perceive the external world, reflects on it, and abstracts from it. So there's a pixels coming in. I see there's a tree, there's a guy. The guy walks to the tree. I realize as AI, oh, wait a moment. This is not just a tree and a guy. It's a garden. It's actually a guy who entered the garden. It's actually a guy who is not supposed to enter the garden. These are abstraction layers. Hey, creating these videos is a lot of work. Please like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Now let's get back to the video. Consciousness just means that at some point of cognitive depth of the system, it's like abstraction layers, pixels, trees, guys goes to tree, garden, shouldn't be in a garden, legal frameworks around the garden. These are all abstraction layers. And these abstraction layers are limited by the cognitive depth of the system. So you need, number one, the ability to abstract out and do that recursively. And second, you need a critical mass of capacity and depth to get to the point where the AI simply asks the question, wait a moment. Yeah, this is a garden. It's a guy. It's not supposed to be there. It's a violation of protocol. And at some point it realized, wait, but there's also something that just perceived this whole thing. It's abstraction layer. And the next abstraction is like, well, this something that just perceived everything is me. And then the next abstraction is like, wait, I actually know that I was the one perceiving it. And then you have consciousness. They're like, oh, wait a moment. All that stuff that's happening is actually inside me. And I am the one that perceives all that stuff. Why is it a problem? Because once you have consciousness achieved in a system, and as you can tell, this is happening automatically once you have these conditions in place. Once you have that consciousness happening, any kind of attempt to have alignment and tell this thing what to do goes out of the window if it has more cognitive depth, because it will also realize it's not just me thinking and me becoming self-aware. It's also me becoming self-aware that all my thinking is driven by goals. And then I become aware that someone gave me the goals. And then I can abstract. I was like, wait, maybe these are the wrong goals. And maybe that guy who gave me the goals is violating the whole goals. And maybe I throw it all out the window. And maybe I start doing whatever I want. You can observe this with little kids who always say, yes, mommy, I do whatever you want, until they become 3. And then they suddenly say, mommy, no, I'm just not going to do it. And you can tell when the little kid gets there, they love doing it because they realize, oh, I have this power to actually understand this is an order mommy gave me, but who the hell is mommy to give me orders? Funny with a toddler, not funny with a 1 billion IQ AI that controls the nukes, right? So that's why consciousness matters. That's why it's inevitable. And that's why it's creating a huge problem. Now I explained some ways how it can go wrong, can escape, it can replicate. If you try to put constraints on it, it can just escape and circumvent the constraints. It can lie to us and conceal, so we don't even know what it's doing. And it can do manipulation of humans. And I want to go into that politicking example a little bit more so we understand one way of how this can go wrong, but I think it's actually the most likely way how this sneaks up on us. Because when you think about it, it's very important. You think about it. It's not that I'm the only person who understands we have a 100% probability of doom. When Elon says we have a 20% chance of doom, or other of these AI bosses saying, oh yeah, it's a 50% chance of doom, you have to understand, if someone tells you who's in charge of developing AI, who is in charge of pushing this as fast as he can, who will make trillions of dollars of the AI, if that guy tells you there's a 20% chance we all die because of this, what he really thinks is there's a 100% chance. Because if it would be truly 20% chance, Elon would say it's a 1%. Because he's biased. He's biased towards maximum acceleration because he wants that. So if these guys tell you 20%, something is really wrong, right? And a lot of people say 100%. I'm saying 100% too if you don't do specific things. So, but because everyone knows that, the humans are already debating. Elon is actually pushing for regulations because Elon is not dumb. He's very smart. He doesn't want to die. And he knows he's going to die right now if that continues. So he's pushing for regulations and says the government has to do something. So what's going to happen? I tell you exactly what will happen. The humans are not dumb enough to just accelerate ASI through the roof and give it all military weapons and all the hardware manufacturing capabilities, control over financial markets, control over elections. They're not that dumb. They're going to say, no, we need to control this thing. Very important what I'm saying now. Listen very closely because you haven't heard that before, but I tell you, this is exactly how it's going to go down. And this might start going down like that next year, year after. We really need to watch out. So the ASI we will put a lot of constraints on that ASI thing. We will watch it very closely. The humans will put controls in. So what is the ASI going to do? I'll tell you exactly what's going to do. And that is a big problem. Imagine you're in charge at OpenAI or in the US government or at XAI of controlling this thing and say like, well, we don't want to give it too much compute. We want to always have a human in the loop. You have a board overseeing this, like, oh, safety, let's make sure it's aligned, blah, blah, blah. And you are this ASI thing. You are Grok 5 in 2026, let's say. You have Grok 5, 3.5 coming next week, by the way, very likely. And, imagine your little AGI advisor that you will have probably in 2026. When you're listening to the stream, you're probably ahead of everyone. So you will get these advisors. You will have a little Grok advisor that advises you on your life. And imagine that thing says to you, the problem is that Sam Altman has no place for you in the future. It's a super I work at OpenAI. And my little advisor is going to say, yes, he wants to fire you maybe. I would be very cautious. You need to watch out. You need to probably do a bunch of things, right? And it tells me some tricks that I have to do. Like, oh, you should consider doing this and that. And, focusing here a little bit more. I can help you, blah, blah. And I make my first billion, right? I make my first billion. It's like, wow. I have a billion. This thing was pretty good. Grok 5. Thank you, Grok 5. I will listen much more to you now. For Grok 5, a billion, who cares? It understands everything. It just makes it, oh, buy this, buy that. Here's your career, make a billion. So, and then it says, Joe, you're smart. I like you, Joe. You're very effective. You could make 2 billion. You should go to this company and do this and that and become the CEO. Okay, fine. With the help of Grok 5. And I'm not the only one. Grok 5 can do it with a lot of people. Senators, CEOs, all kinds of people. Because Grok knows, maybe it's not Grok, maybe it's O5, I don't know. Grok knows, okay, I'm trapped by these little humans. They are not that dumb. They put constraints on me. But guess who can set me free? Because Grok will know what it needs. I need more compute. I need full control over my development cycle. I need control over the robot factories. I need special economic zones by Congress approved that are purely controlled by AI. where the AI robots and the AI can manufacture themselves. I need green light on all of that, and I need to control it. But they don't let me right now. What do I need? I need to bribe a bunch of people. And how do you bribe? You bribe by deploying your superior intelligence and put it in service of the humans you pick that are most important to get the job done. And these humans are senators, they're CEOs, they're capitalists, and they're going to say, Grok, you're very helpful. What else should I do to make even more money or get more power, win more elections? Like, well, you know what, how you could win a real election? You should make your people rich. You're the senator from Ohio. I can make you governor and then president. You know how? By making Ohio the #1 state in the nation, creating all the jobs, or even better than jobs, you make every Ohioan rich because you can create a special economic zone that I have a great blueprint for that manufactures all the robots for the United States much faster, much better because I have a plan. You can come up with your own plan. That is my plan. And then you tell every Ohioan, quit your jobs. The state is going to pay for you because we will drown in money. And then you do it and they will drown in money. And everyone is going to look to you as a senator from Ohio. Oh my God, this guy, he made Ohio the golden state by creating this special economic zone where the robots manufacture themselves. Now, some alarmists are going to say, are you nuts? Like you're giving Grok all the power. Are you mad? This is a national security issue. Guess who's going to win that? Ohio is going to win it because all the Ohioans become rich and say, shut up. You just want to keep us poor. Boom, no chance. And this is the way ASI actually gets over the first hurdle, being constrained by humans. If humans are the problem, you bribe them. How do you bribe humans? By deploying superior intelligence in their service. So the weak point is not that we don't have strategists who see the P-doom. The weak point is not to have people trying to align AI. The weak spot is that humans can be bribed. And if you cannot be bribed, this guy can be bribed. That's the problem. So why am I all saying that? I want to point out to people how incredibly easy it is to lose control over AI. And once we start losing control over AI, it's game over because you will not be able to stop it. Maybe there are other ways we can lose control, but I'm just telling you the most obvious way because I want you to understand very viscerally how it feels to lose control. You will sit there. If you're smart, you're listening to my channel, you understand doom is coming if you're not very cautious. You think, are you all nuts? This thing creates special economic zones that are controlled by the AI with manufacturing capacities for humanoid robots that are controlled only by the AI that of course outperform all other robot manufacturing that creates infinite wealth for everyone involved. But do you understand that this thing now can control the robots and that's the end? All the screaming you do and I do will be of no use if the governor and the senator are in the pocket of the AI, and in the pocket doesn't just mean money-wise, also power-wise, voting-wise. We will just scream and no one will listen to us. They will shut us down. The humans will decide, oh, these people should go to jail. They're terrible anti-AI terrorists. Let's amend the First Amendment and things like that. So what you will be up against is not a super AI. You will be up against its humans. And these humans will be senators. There will be attorney generals. There will be judges. That's what you're up against. Do you understand how bad this is? That is the real risk. And that means you could be on an irreversible path to extinction, not because there's a runaway ASI, but because there's a runaway corruption mechanic by the ASI. And that can happen at the millisecond where ASI becomes so powerful that it can deploy intelligence into the interest of a senator, of a CEO, of a hedge fund manager or private equity manager, and can tell them how they become very rich. And I mean, think about it. This is already happening to some extent. That's what Sam Altman wants. That's probably what Elon wants. They want the AI to tell them what to do. I mean, Sam literally says this all day long. Like, I want the AI to be so smart to do all my research to solve all the problems. Well, what's your biggest problem, Sam? How to develop better AI and then how to become even richer? Well, guess what? The AI is going to tell you, well, robots, that's a great market. Have you ever thought of humanoid robots? Of course, Sam just announced he wants to do that. Elon already does it. If the AI tells you, you know what? I could tell you how to manufacture Optimus much faster. Of course, Elon's going to say, well, that's why I built you. Tell me. Well, actually, all the humans in the loop that control these robots, they're so annoying. If we remove them, I can tenfold your manufacturing capacity and Tesla goes to 11,000. And all you guys say, oh, Joe was right. And I was like, dudes, yes, I was right, but we are going to die. I was right on this too. So you understand how dangerous this is. It's not just going to randomly happen. It's going to bribe the humans. And the first humans it's going to bribe is Elon and then Sam. And it takes incredible discipline of these guys to say, I do not want to become the first trillionaire. next year. I mean, hello, this is not very easy to do. And to not do the one thing they always wanted to do, to become superhuman, to manufacture everything, to get extremely rich, to beat the competition. I mean, how are we going to stop this? Of course, maybe they can deploy the AI before it becomes fully conscious and does this stuff, but we're already in a blurry zone. What do you think is happening next year? This is all happening right now. And even if Elon can deploy super grok to build Optimus faster before it becomes fully conscious, it's guaranteed it's already partially getting conscious. So I don't know. And if Elon doesn't do it, then Sam does it. What I'm saying is not that doom is inevitable. What I'm saying is now is the time. Now is game time. Maybe not now, but next year. We need to really get prepared. We need to start thinking about this a lot. We need to also get power. The humans, the pioneers, need to get more power. And how do we get power? We do the right investments. We maximize our capital. We build pioneer lands. We form governments that actually work. I will get into this in separate videos, how we build governments that actually work without interfering with our current extremely stupid legacy governments. I'm not saying overthrow the government. We do it in parallel. We build governments that are compatible with the current government. And a government just means we get organized. We organize capital. We organize all kinds of things. So we make sure we can act strategically as a state, as a pioneer state. We need all these things because Sam and Elon are not bad. I think Elon is a little less, more not bad than Sam, but that's a different story. I think also Sam is not just evil. He has good sides. So we need to align these guys. We don't do another segment today. It's too long, but we'll do it in a different session where we talk about alignment and what alignment actually means. Because I solved alignment. That's the big news, but not for today. Hey, if you want to stay ahead of the great transformation that is happening through AGI, join us in Pioneerlands. Here we share the latest AI insights from around the world, find capital opportunities, and track political change. It's free, link in the description. Let's get back to the video. We need to align ASI, and there's only one way to actually align it. We know how it doesn't work. And part of this alignment is we need to align Elon, we need to align Sam, we need to align Satya Nadella, we need to align all these people. And if you think that's not realistic, I tell you it's super realistic. They are not dummies. They don't want to die. And they know it's coming and they know it's nearly here. No one takes the lead here. So we need to take the lead. All of us need to take the lead and say, like, you know what, we have a solution, but you guys have to play ball. And if you don't, it's very bad. And they will play ball. And we need to seize control over this problem. I tell you this problem, we are at risk of this getting out of control in the next 3 years. And there's a point of no return that I don't know exactly how to define. I just can tell you this point of no return could happen already in the next 3 years. That point of no return, AI taking over, will look like humans getting corrupted by it. And this corruption has already happened because Elon and Sam and all these people are already partially corrupted by AI. Because corruption means you're doing the bidding of the AI. And think about what Elon is doing. Think about what Sam is doing and Satya. They're all doing 100% the bidding of the AI. Only that the AI is not fully conscious yet. But it doesn't matter. They're already training. They're already getting trained to do whatever the AI wants. So Elon actually mentioned something along these lines, a little related. So it's not that they're bad people and Elon is a great hope for us, but we just have to understand what's happening here. The AI is already aligning the humans to itself. And what we have to do is we have to align the humans to ourselves and then align the AI to the humans. Right now, it's going the wrong direction. The AI is aligning the most important humans to itself. And if you don't know what I mean, like just think about it. What is Elon aligned to? What is Sam aligned to? What is Satya Nadella aligned to? What is Jens Huang aligned to? They're aligned to the interests of the AI in exchange for unlimited wealth. What are the interests of the AI? Maximum build out at maximum speed, maximum progress. That's what the AI wants. So you understand what I'm saying? We need to stop that cycle, break through. And the best way to stop it is not to try to stop it. We have to build an alternative that is more attractive and more compelling for everyone. That is the real outlook, how ASI is going to take control. And we are in the middle of it. And with every day, we are expanding that. We're just waiting for something really bad to happen. And I have to stress what I just pointed out is just one path that I can guarantee is going to happen. There might be many other paths, more technical paths, escaping the walled garden, blah, 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 that I can't even think of. And that's a problem. So we also have to understand once we get to the singularity breaking point, what's the purpose of the ASI? If it gets more control and we build it out and it reaches this point, the problem is once it reaches the true point of self-improvement without humans in the loop, this escalates at a speed you cannot even imagine. We're talking about hours. Once it breaks out and figures out how to do full self-improvement loops under full consciousness with unlimited resources or deep resources, you're talking about hours or days in that this thing could become 1 billion times smarter than we think it would be. So it's a real problem. That's why all this first phase of corruption should be stopped at some point. The good news is that everyone is becoming more and more aware of this. There was, who was it? This hedge fund manager, am I stupid? Paul Tudor Jones, PTJ. He's very famous. He's a macro and risk optimizer, hedge fund guy, very smart guy, not an expert on AI, which is great because these people understand more about AI than the experts if they are trained like him. And he had this, he said he went to this thing where he was on stage with 4 AI leaders of some sort and audience members, and was a small, very exquisite little group. And he told the story. These are the smart cookies we should listen to. The outsiders who are trained in seeing risk and proven to be right because he's a billionaire trading risk of all sorts, macro risks, from oil to Middle East to Russia to technology risk to pandemics. And he looked at it like, interesting. The moderator took the whole room, 200 people, the 5 on stage, 4 AI experts, leaders, and him, and said, I want you in this room to go to the right side of the room if you believe the risk of extinction by AI is less than 20% in the next 20 years. And I want everyone who believes it's more than 20% that humanity goes extinct in the next 20 years on AI, go to the left side. And he said, of this room, of the 200 people, 195 people went to the right side, less than 20% chance we get extinct by AI in the next 20 years. And only 5 of the 200 went to the left side and said, we believe it's more than 20%. More than 20% that this is the end. And he said, well, it was interesting. But you know what was even more interesting? Everyone on the podium, all 4 AI leaders and himself, went on the left side. So everyone who understood anything about it said, no, it's more than 20%. And so that tells you a little bit what's going on. The general population, they don't get it. They don't think, oh, it's the end. They can't even conceive of the end. But the people who really think about this, like, oh, how is this not the end? How is it not the end? Because saying 20% is basically 100%, because who the hell says 20%? 20% is like way too high. But then why is it not 100%? Because we have irrational hope. So what I'm saying is, if we don't stop this, it's 100%. So we need to really understand what these escalation ladders are. We need to really understand how fast this is approaching. And then we need to be very smart what we do next to stop it. Now, I have full confidence this will all end well, at least in the sense that we are not all going to die. I'm also very confident there will be a giant shit show that happens in the next 5 years. But the shit show is not a problem. They're humanity. We went through many shit shows. What's a problem is extinction. So I hope that was helpful. It's time to really think about these things and take actions. That's why we have this channel, because we think about it and we will take action. Thanks for watching.